Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tim Sohn here with Sohn Social Media Solutions on the Tim and Jim Show. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon or whatever time zone you are in the world. And I'm here with my co-host, Jim Fuse. Take it away, Jim.
Hey, Tim, great to see you. Happy New Year, everyone. It's exciting to be here in 2019 on the Tim and Jim Show. We've got lots of big plans for this year and what we but plan to do with the show and repurposing it and bringing you guys along on that journey. And so we thought it would be a great way to start the year out to talk about what we see as marketing tips and trends that people need to think about in 2019, and not just on the digital side. And that's why we're calling it marketing tips and not just digital marketing tips. So Tim, what do you got to say about that?
That's right, Jim Fuse. We're going to talk about online marketing, but also event and traditional marketing. So let's start out with in real life events, whether it's attending real life events, sponsoring them, attending a trade show or something like that. Both myself and Jim are attending a conference coming up called Social Media Marketing World, which he very kindly let me know about, and we'll both be volunteering at it this year. And in real life events are really a great opportunity to both, you can connect with people online who are attending the event, which you could follow the hashtag for the event. So you can make sure you use efficient use of your time and make connections ahead of time and then meet those people in real life at an event. Right, Jim?
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that we have to ultimately remember. And I know for me, going last year to the conference, I was able to take some of these digital, relationships that I had started to build through different platforms and meet people in real life. And so at least it was nice to see that a lot of times these people were the same in real life as they were, in the online world, because we always hear about that in online dating, how a lot of times the people aren't the same. But I think,
Jim, I didn't know you were an online dating expert.
Well, I was never an expert, even though that's how I did reconnect with my wife. It was through Facebook. But I do think that what people have to remember is people want to do business with people. And so the best way, I don't think there's been any other way that proves otherwise, to build know, like, and trust is meeting people in real life. So whether it's at a conference, whether it's at a networking meeting, that's your chance to really shine and to get to know people and find those people that are interested in what you're doing. And I know you've done several events as well this past year that were quite successful. And why don't you talk about some of the things you did from an offline or way to really help promote or maybe even traditional marketing?
Sure. So this past year, I've done a number of workshops. I organized a workshop, which was somebody else was speaking, Sri Srinivasan. You can follow him on Twitter at Sri. In a non-traditional sense, to promote the event, we used press releases. I don't know what I guess you would call that public relations. And I sent out press releases every week. We had almost 60 people attend the workshops and sold in less than 1 month. So press releases, but then also on the online side, social media posts, email marketing, and also not just putting out content on social media, but also reaching out to those connections that you have via direct messages. So I know I did that a lot on LinkedIn. There are even some people that I haven't communicated with in quite a while. I comment on their posts and I engage with them, but I hadn't really sent them a direct message in quite a while. So, I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know about this event. Hope everything's going great with you. I thought this might be, some valuable information to get across. But really the combination of public relations and social media, both public social media, posting content and engaging with people, but then also direct messages, which I think oftentimes people forget about communicating via direct messages as opposed to in a more public style, Jim?
Right. Absolutely. And I think we forget about the fact that, that's still a powerful way to connect with people, because not everybody is on Facebook, or even if they're on Facebook, unless you're using ads, the reach of your organic Facebook is less than, a 0.5%. And so, but there are other ways to reach people, doing press releases, if you know the right newspapers or periodicals that are popular in your area, even radio as well. And I see on my end that I want to say hi to Lindsay and Brandon, who are out there in the audience. And Lindsay on my end over here saying Happy New Year to both of us, and Happy New Year to Lindsay, who's doing a lot of neat things with smart speaker marketing that I know we're going to touch on that during our broadcast today as well. But I think, Tim has really taught me a lot about the world of press releases, and that's definitely something that I want to learn more about in this new year, because I think, especially like I do a lot of workshops still in North Carolina at the community colleges. And so it would be good for me to be doing more of that sort of pre-release thing, so people know that they can register for these classes. Because sometimes when you're doing an event with someone else, they may have their hands tied as far as how well they can promote things.
Absolutely. Especially if you're holding events like at a college or some sort of nonprofit, you're more likely to get coverage in the press. So go for it, Mr. Jim.
So one of the things I know we had talked about as well is, there's all these social media platforms out there. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, there's Twitter, there's Snapchat. There's, the rising of voice search through Alexa. There's Google My Business. But then you start having these other ones start popping up, like Alignable. And what I would tell people, from my opinion, is don't chase the brand new shiny object just because you think, oh, I'm going to get on there first. Get good at the ones that are already out there. There's over 2 billion people on Facebook, over 1 billion people on Instagram. Figure out where your audience is and get good at that platform. But also on the same perspective, it's important to maybe develop social listening skills. So maybe you're not good at Twitter, but get on Twitter, start following people and listen and see how they're using the platform, and start to learn those platforms, one at a time. Don't try to do everything all at once, or you're just going to overwhelm yourself. What are your thoughts on that, Tim?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Gary Casey just commented. He said, hello, ... Hello, Gary. But I definitely agree. There's so many choices out there. The one thing I would say is there's so much controversy around Facebook right now. And some of the media reports really bother me in terms of, there's been a lot of very unsettling reports for a while now in terms of Facebook, but it just seems that their intentions aren't even there. They're good intentions. So, and I've worked with Facebook, like that's been my main focus with my clients for a long time. So I think this is really the year for businesses and nonprofits to start focusing their energies on other platforms as well. I wouldn't say totally abandon Facebook unless if their actions don't align with your brand. If you have a brand that focuses on honesty and morality and things like that, but at the same time you need to be where your customers are. But I think there's going to be some businesses, and I know there's been some individuals who have totally pulled out of Facebook now because they just don't. It's just so out of control in terms of the crises and the breaches and all of that. But
I think you're right. I know even some of the folks I know that have been big Facebook proponents are getting into some of these other platforms because they do see a change. Now, whether or not they can recover, that's hard to say. But when I look at some of the platforms, like even though Google Plus is going away, one of the things I notice about Google My Business is they keep adding features that will allow a business to communicate with its potential clients. You can now follow them. I posted today on my business page how now they're allowing the messaging button is much more prominent. So you can message a business straight out of Google My Business on your Map app, as an example, to maybe ask a question with the post, the ability to follow. So if you're a small or even a medium-sized business and you're looking at local search, you're probably going to be more successful with Google and other platforms because remember, people search for solutions to their problems. They don't go to Facebook looking for solutions to their problems. And I think that sometimes that people forget that, and it's kind of that, oh, I got to be on Facebook. But if you're not willing to pay to play, which I think is part of where we both see the challenges for a lot of these small businesses and nonprofits, you've got to come up with another way to reach your tribe.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you all for tuning in who are watching. We appreciate you being here. We encourage you guys to leave any comments or questions down below. Today we're talking about 2019 marketing tips and trends. Jim, one thing that we've been talking about is YouTube lately, and the possibility of also streaming our show onto YouTube. And I think YouTube is really an area. YouTube is also owned by Google, and I think it's an important area that small businesses should start to focus more on also, because it also you also get good traction in search.
Right, and so much is about video now. Video content continues to grow, whether it's pre-recorded, whether it's live. I think that it's important in 2019. If you haven't started doing it yet as a business, you need to. If you're a little bit scared, there's some apps out there, Headliner.app, a couple others that will allow you to take some photos and maybe put some audio over it. So it's quote unquote a video. The same thing with Adobe Spark's video feature. But that's what's catching people's attention. It's been a couple years now where we said, look, you can't make a post on Facebook without a graphic or a video. That's more true now than it's ever been before. And every social platform is embracing video. So, if you're not comfortable with it, hire a professional to help you get through those initial stages of being afraid. But, I think that's critical for success. And that's where YouTube is huge. I mean, it's got more viewers than any network television station, period.
Absolutely. I know I recently, just the other day, I subscribed to Wave.video, which it makes it so easy to create videos, and they have a huge library of stock videography and stock photos. I would always say try to use original photos and videos whenever you can, but if you need a stock photography or video, they have a huge library. So I would encourage you guys to check that out. And there's also a tool called Lula, Lula .tv, I believe it is. And that allows you to stream at the same time from to Instagram stories and also to YouTube Live. So you guys might want to check that out also.
So Joe Cooper just asked about, he said we mentioned Instagram, but could we dig deeper and I'll mention the use of TikTok? I have not used TikTok. I'm not familiar with it yet. Are you familiar with it at all?
I'm not actually. It appears we have to do some research, Jim.
Yes. So Joe, we'll have to get back to you on that. But I do know going to Instagram, Instagram is becoming much more of an e-commerce platform. But you have to have a business account. They've added a couple new features. One, as an example, where you can pick people that are in your list of followers and make them close friends, so they get notified when you create a story. So that's another new feature there as well. But yeah, we'll have to look into that, Joe. I have not. I've heard of TikTok, but I think I probably thought of that initially in the back of my mind as like another type of Snapchat sort of thing. And so I'm still working on my Instagram stories skills, let alone finding another platform like TikTok. But we'll have to check into that. He's given us a link. Okay. Well, thank you, Joe. We'll definitely check that out. Maybe we'll get a TikTok person on our show so they can talk about it this upcoming term here.
Yeah, for sure. And Joe, feel free to leave any links down below if you have a website or any social media profiles, that you want us that we can connect with you on. That would be really great. Jim, do you want to talk a bit about messenger marketing?
Yeah, we have a lot of people have heard it called chatbots, but really, where I think things are evolving, it's become more than that. It's messenger marketing, because even some people that I know, they're getting off of Facebook, but they're not getting off of Messenger. So Messenger is almost like, I guess I'd put it as a way as text messaging on steroids. And so by tying a chatbot into your website, you can get people to follow you. The open rates are 80% plus using Messenger versus the less than 20% on email marketing. And that's not to say that email marketing is still not extremely important, because I think what we all have to remember, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, any of these platforms, you risk that if they either go away or you get kicked off because of how you're doing things on that platform, you just lost access to all of those people that you were working with or were hoping to work with. So that's where the email list is your theoretical gold mine, and you still own that. But chatbots really bring, through messenger marketing, a lot of options. The way to create some lead magnets through comment triggers in post, where you can share free information, get people on your list. But Facebook's also doing some things, so it'll be interesting to see if they come up with their own chatbot program outside of the big three. Seem to be ManyChat, MobileMonkey, and Chatfuel. I know that you like to use MobileMonkey, and I've been using ManyChat. But I think there's still a lot of room for growth in the messenger realm, and it's something that businesses should definitely look at embracing to help communicate with their followers.
Yeah, for sure. I actually started out using ManyChat a while ago, and I don't know, I found it pretty confusing. And then Addison Zhang, she had mentioned MobileMonkey, so I tried that out, and it seems to be somewhat easier to use. I'm still fairly early on learning all of that jazz, but there's different options out there.
Right. And most of them will let you start for free. And then it's when you want to get some of the more premium features that you have to pay. So it's definitely something worth looking into.
Right. Also, I was just telling Jim before that my sister bought me an Alexa for Christmas. So there's what you call an Alexa smart briefing that businesses can create, small morsels of information. It could be tips or something like that. And then you can tell people how to connect with you on a website or social media. Right, Jim?
Yes. And the nice thing about it is you can pre-record and schedule these things, and I know that our friend Lindsay Anderson has been offering some information through her site, and if she's still on, she's. I hope she would feel free to drop a link into the briefing. But you could have these 2-minute short recordings of tips for people. Joe, if you're big in the TikTok, you could even do a flash briefing on TikTok tips for people that then they might start following you and asking you how you can do more with that. And so I think that that's something that's going to continue to grow. The amount of the smart speakers, as we call them, that have been bought is just amazing how much that has gone. And I think as some of these develop to where they have the video platforms, I mean, you've got the Google Home, and now you have Facebook again with their portal. There's going to be more things come of that. So you could even potentially have, maybe it's a short 2-minute video where you talk about a tip for someone that they're going to listen to on their, device that of their choice. So there's less than 10,000 flash briefings currently, and there's millions of people listening to these things. So it's very early in that arena, that if you feel like you've got some content of value, it's a great way to get people out there.
For sure, for sure. And before we were talking a bit about Instagram, and we should really talk a little bit about stories, because stories are becoming so popular right now, whether it's Instagram, YouTube has created stories now. And for those of you who don't know, stories are basically, it's actually a vertical post, and it only stays out in the social media world for 24 hours, and then it disappears. So it's a little challenging, because sometimes we struggle to create just the perfect post that will actually stay out there, but this actually disappears. But it is important, because people are really engaging with them, and you can actually, your potential customers can actually send you direct messages through the Instagram stories.
Yeah, and that's something that if you want to follow someone that's really good at that, you've got Jen Herman and also Subi Zimmerman. They do a lot on Instagram. Because I think one thing that I know that we both respect about not only the community but about each other is, we're not going to try to sit there and tell you guys that we know everything, because we don't. Sure. But what we will do is we will point you to folks that will teach you if it's something you're interested in learning. And I know in Instagram, they're both fantastic people, and we're going to see them in social media marketing world. So that's pretty exciting as well. So, we're going to come back with a lot of information and knowledge in March, and I'm extremely excited about that. And we'll see if there's anyone there talking about TikTok for Joe as well, because he's got me curious about it. But that's my problem. I get curious about things.
And for all of you that are watching, if you are attending any conferences this coming year or workshops, let us know what the topics are. Put a link down below. We'd love to know how you guys are learning new things. And when you attend these conferences, make sure you take some photos and videos and share them on your social media, because then you're showing your customers and your potential customers that you're always trying to learn new things that they can bring to you.
Brandon made a comment on the other feed, because I know that sometimes BeLive doesn't pull everything in. So he says that they use Instagram stories to post, to do an initial post for their fundraising events, and they get the hashtag out there for people to follow. So that's pretty interesting too. So there's an example of where Brandon runs a nonprofit that raises money for service dogs in the Jacksonville, North Carolina area. So thank you for sharing that, Brandon. We appreciate that. Very
cool. And Joe Cooper says TikTok getting a lot of buzz, especially in Asian markets. So that's interesting. It's always important to know where your right? Like if you have customers that are in Asia, right? What
Yes.
social network should you be using? So, and also it's something to remember is Google always wants you to be updating the website on your content, the content on your website,
right?
From an SEO perspective. So whether it's a blog or you're updating some portion of your website on a consistent basis, that's always helpful in the long run in terms of your search engine optimization, driving traffic to your website.
And speaking of search engine optimization, that is not something that's going to go away. And so, in that regards, people need to produce content. And what would be your recommendation on that, Tim? I mean, how often do you think people need to do that?
This question it's a tough one, because depending on the amount of time you have, like right now, Google is preferring blog posts that are like 2,000 or 3,000 words or something like that, right? But if you say that to a small business owner, they're going to run away. So I tell customers to write something. I tell them to start at 300 words. If they can do 300 words once a week, that's great. I think it's more important to get something out there than nothing. It is important to get some longer pieces out there, what's called cornerstone content. But I think it's important that you get some piece of information that is quality and also helpful. You don't want all your content to be promotional. The main majority of your content should be helpful, like tips or things like that.
Right.
What say you?
I agree. In fact, I know for me, that's one of my goals in 2019 is to get at least one blog post out a month on my website and then repurpose it. And by that, you can actually take that post and then put it on LinkedIn, put it on a site like Medium, share a link to it on Twitter, and say that it originally appeared on your website so that you get more eyes on it, because maybe you're not getting everybody to your website. And even in that regards, if you have a website, are you using Google Analytics? Are you using the Google Search Console? And do you have the Facebook Pixel embedded as well? Those are things that will help you with your SEO. And so I think that's extremely important, because it goes back to, and I think this is something we'll continue to bring up throughout the year, is people search for solutions to their problems first. They don't go to, they go to the social networks to be social. And that's where engagement is important. But the SEO, you've got to have that content out there for people to see as well.
That's so true. And I think really too, social really works better and more easily for certain kinds of businesses than others. Like for a restaurant, you put up the specials and you put up some pictures and you have people engaging. But for other types of businesses, it might be more tricky figuring out the right combination,
Right. Absolutely.
So we're going to wrap up soon, but maybe one other topic we could discuss. Well, you just kind of did, repurposing content. We've been talking a little bit about, for the show, taking some clips from our Facebook Live videos and putting them on LinkedIn. We're going to be creating a YouTube channel just for this show. So this content will also live there, but we'll also create some shorter clips that we can repurpose for other platforms.
Absolutely. And the other thing we've been looking into as far as even repurposing is we're also looking at other live platforms. And I think I will put something out maybe as an article, because we just recently learned about 3 or 4 different ones that you could use to include BeLive, that might be something that people are interested in, because they all have their own unique things, and especially there's a big desire for people to go live on other platforms. Now, I will say something I did learn, and both of us watched this video with Ross Brand and Eileen Smith last week, was Ecamm, if you're a Mac user, is right now $79 for to buy it and be able to use it. But they're getting ready to go to a subscription model. So if you get it now, you'll be grandfathered in under that initial one-time rate. What's funny is I didn't realize it had gone up to 79, because when I bought it, I got it for like 35.
Whoa.
And so I got a great deal. So that's just something for all you Mac users out there. If you're not using Ecamm, it's a really good program. It'll let you bring people in live through Skype, and will also allow you to have multiple people. And that was the nice thing I think we saw about all four of those platforms that they were talking about, is you could have up to 4 people on at a time live, and it also lets you do some recording and some other stuff as well. So I think that's something we'll get out there to everyone. And yeah, just, you can even take a bad Facebook Live and repurpose it. You can pull it, download it and put it into one of these video editing tools, and make it reusable. So Tim, tell us, who do we got coming on next week?
So next week we have Deb DiGregorio from a marketing agency called Camaray, and she's going to talk about business to business and how to market not using social media. So that will be 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday, right here. So don't miss it. You guys should Google her. Just Google Deb DiGregorio. Camaray is Camares, and she has amazing YouTube videos. So make sure you check them out. They're very helpful.
And Shelby said, "Great tip, guys. Excited for next week." Thank you, Shelby. And we appreciate all of our viewers. Please make sure you share this show with your friends, and love to see people, if they have comments on the replay, we will answer them. And we're excited to be with you all here in the new year, and we hope that the new year is the best year yet for everyone. You can find me on Fusion Marketing on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, also website. And Tim, where can they find you? And I'll let you wrap things up.
Sure. Thank you all for watching, as usual. We truly appreciate it. You can find me on Twitter at Sohn, SOHN, social media, or you can find me at Sohn Social Media Solutions on Facebook and Instagram, or you could go to LinkedIn and search for Sohn Social Media Solutions or my name. Easily reachable in all methods of communication. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you again here next week, and have a profitable 2019. See ya.